Yes, 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 yes. All right, so tonight is the night we are going to help you move into a little bit more of your identity. So last week we were talking about your creating your new reality, and I said, you know what, this week I'm going to do a little bit more about your identity because we have to wear that. We have to be so proud of it. So that's what we're here for. Jasmina, have you had your hair cut? Show me your face again. You've disappeared. All right, okay. Anyway, so welcome, welcome, welcome. Always remember that when have you had your haircut? You have had your haircut. Very
Yeah.
lucky. New identity. Oh, yes. Awesome. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so my identity is pink tonight, and I do wear a lot of pink because I like pink because it's very boosty and it's very like my dragon bloom and it's very rebellious and it's very in your face and it's powerful and that's how I love it. So, um, always remember that when we are on these calls, when we're calling in your identity, when we're calling in a creation, when we're breaking the rules, when we're breaking the patterns, because that's what we're always talking about. When we're calling in the dragons, yes, I know. When we're calling in the dragons, it's not for your mind that we're doing this. Although your mind needs to hear this, we are going to be playing on another level. We're going to be playing on a I know, very favourite colour. We're going to be playing on a different level because we have to play on a different level. Otherwise, we all know the phrase like, you keep doing the same thing, you're going to keep getting the same results. I mean, dumb as. But we do. We keep doing the same thing because we don't really know what we should be changing. We don't really know what this is all about. But this is what the dragons are all about. The dragons are all about just saying, come on, ladies, come on, people. You know it here, but have you felt it? So I'm going to give you a little bit of an intro to this today. Some of it you will have heard before, but just take it from a different level that I need to feel this. I want to feel this. Because and you've heard me say this before, when people read your posts, when people see you on lives, they can read your intention. They can read what's going on behind the scenes, and we wouldn't be here if we didn't understand all that and we didn't know all of that. So, what we're doing here is we're just allowing some more of that to come through you to sort of say, this is who I am, this is what I stand for, this is my identity. So, in other words, your identity, not just your color or your logo, but your identity comes to it becomes your brand. In other words, that's the energy that I expect when I speak to Fiona. That's the energy I expect when I speak to Yasmin. That's the energy that I expect when I speak to Teresa. So this becomes your brand. But your brand has to be that you're so all in. You are so absolutely believing in who you are, believing what you're doing, believing every single thing. That's why when I say this is not for your mind, but this is for every single cell in your body. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so I'm going to put these chats over there so that I can see them a little bit better. Yeah, we used to say the camera never lies. Can't say that anymore, can we? Because there's filters and there's AI. I showed my son a little clip and he went, AI, that's not real, mum. I went, yeah, you're probably right. So we used to say the camera never lies, but your energy never lies. Now, you can feel that some people are very bravado. Some people are very confident and they've built up a confidence, but you can also feel behind that what their intention is. You can also feel behind that, do they 100% trust it? Do they value themselves? You'll notice that as we go through what we're going to be doing today. You'll notice that from how they stand out, where's their head on their shoulders, what's their status, what's their stance, when they're walking into the room. Like years ago, you would say, oh, you could tell the moment a tennis player comes on the pitch if he's going to win or lose. That is what we're looking for in you as well. So you need to start adopting your winner stance. And I don't just mean, fuck it, I'm going to win. It's like, it's like, I am the best at what I do. I'm brilliant. This is just amazing. This is what I'm meant to be doing. There's nothing else I could be doing that wouldn't feel as good as this. And all the self-talk that you have going on. So if you're ready to receive more, here's your opportunity. Here's your opportunity to sort of Go inside and find out what's within. What's the talk behind the talk? What are the phrases behind the phrases that you use? What's going on in your mind? What are the thoughts that you have? Because every single one of us has things that we say to ourselves that isn't kind, that isn't in our fullest energy, that isn't in our fullest good. Even if you criticize yourself with what you're wearing or how your hair is or how you did something, oh, that was just stupid, all of these things are to do with your self-worth. And this has a massive effect on how you put yourself out there. And the more you talk and the more you practice it, the easier it becomes for you to believe, do you know what? I'm damn good at what I do. So what we're trying to do here is create a belief in you that you can start, oh, don't stop moving around, that you can start wearing as your cape, your coat of honor, your brand, this is who I am, you know. And also be careful of when you meet your friends or you see your family or things like that, because the things you tell them, the facts, the truth, that plays out really, really big time in knocking you down. All right. So you have to be able to, if you're surrounded by people who don't do this kind of work, who don't like the delusional side, who don't like the bumping yourself up, who don't get it and who don't do that work, that's fine. But at some point, you're going to have to level yourself up so that you do not come down to their level. It's always easier for us to come down to someone else's level, isn't it? But then building ourselves back up, Mondays used to be a terrible job for me to build myself back up because all weekend I've been around people who were kind of average. So we want to be in a community where people are kind of building each other up, where we're actually saying, you did a really good job, I believe you. Like if you say, I signed 10 clients last week because you want to get into the feel of it, that's fine by me. And just notice what your mind says. Yeah, but it's not real, is it? Just notice all the time to what is coming up in your subconscious. So the question of your worth, if you question your worth, your self-worth, that's what you'll get back. Everything is a mirror. We cannot avoid the fact that everything is a mirror. So if you're questioning your self-worth, if you're complaining about your self-worth, if you're moaning about something or saying this is not working, or the bank account's no good, or that's not working, or he did this or she did that, that's lowering your energy, and you are only then receiving and open to receive at that level. So be aware, as I'm sure you all are, what goes on in the news. Personally, don't watch the news, and I imagine everybody here doesn't really watch the news either. All right. Be careful of the films you watch. I mean, for a long, long, long time, you can tell I love talking about this because I'm getting all hot. For a long, long, long time, I didn't watch anything violent, thriller, or anything like that because it played on my energy. But then at some point you're able to watch it and you ride above it. The same as when you're in a conversation with somebody in your home, or you can rise above it. You don't let those certain things get on your nerves. You're not affected by it. You're not influenced by it. So you are able to hold your best version of yourself, your best self-talk. All right. People want your confidence. So we started speaking about that last week, didn't we? In Create Your New Reality. People want your energy. They want to invest in your energy because they want that for themselves. They're like, how does she get to be so clear? How does she get to be so positive? How does she get to be so articulate? How does she, like, they want your energy. And that's what most people are wanting at the moment, is they want to know, how do you get into that? So if you are in your particular field, they want you to be able to articulate it and come forward and shining that bright light. And it's not just confidence. So we need to be, because confidence can be brash or bragging, which is fine. I encourage you to be brash and brag about all the good stuff that goes on in your life, because you'll notice that a different energy comes up in your body when you're bragging and when you're confident about something. But if you are specifically going for attracting abundance or lavish abundance, we have to know what that feels like. Because if you don't feel it, you can talk about it, but if you don't feel it, how on earth is it ever going to match? So you have to get used to acting that way, believing that is true, and becoming that. So there's a different way of doing that. So we will talk about that in a minute. So we talk about confidence. You can have fake bravado, but I think most people kind of sense fake bravado. I think you can sense it. There's an energy in there, and we will play with this energy in a minute. So you have to know what the thought is behind the thought. And you are the only one who can catch, or you are the only one who can do this for yourself, full stop, but you are the only one who's ever going to catch your inner thoughts. That's the work. So I had something happen for me yesterday, and all these thoughts started coming up. Come on. So all these thoughts started coming up, and because I'm practiced at it, I thought, all right, you know what? I have to write those down because I have to do a spring clean on that. That's what I do. That's what I help people through. We do an exorcism of the energy that is coming up, the words that you're saying. We have to get rid of that. We cannot hold on to that. And if it's coming up, we have to say, no, I don't want to believe that. No, I don't want to act from that point of view anymore. No, I don't want to think this is too hard. No, I don't want that. So we have to do certain exercises where we're actually doing a spring clean on what it is that we are noticing that we are saying. Because if you're telling yourself that, be sure that you will start attracting that into your life. So when you are bringing yourself into your unapologetic energy, into your absolute, lie down again, in your absolute, I've gone all blurry. Anyway, I'll come back. When you are practicing that energy, you're coming into your absolute assurances of everything. You will have to train, and you will have to devote yourself, your time, your valuable time, your intention, your very existence to that. Let's see if I can change the camera to focus. There we go. Ah, so good. So going back then to your inner thoughts, what's going on the inside? Beliefs, as we said for a few weeks now, beliefs are only the thoughts that you keep on repeating to yourself. So, for example, most of us had a bit of a job done on us as growing up, whether it's just school or parents or something like that, who told us we wouldn't amount to anything, or we were lousy at this or lousy at that. So, and that's the way that generation was. That's fine, but we don't have to be like that. So what we're doing is when we start talking to ourselves in a different way, at first it will feel really odd, and it will feel really uncomfortable, and it will feel really, you're not used to it. It's just, you can't wear it. It's like, oh, I don't know if I can say that about myself. And most people think it's a little bit too wild and too brash and too in your face to say that you're good at something, because we are not coming from that particular mold. But we have to make a new mold so that we build new beliefs about ourselves, that we think, I am really, really good. I'm a genius at doing this. I'm good at doing this. Until you feel it. Until you feel it. I mean, you have to practice something for 21 days, 40 days, maybe 90 days. You practice, and this is what we're always doing in Manifest with the Dragons. You have to practice like an athlete, like a boxer, like a singer. You have to build that muscle so that you are starting to build your new identity, rather than you playing average and accepting average. And this is when you will probably want to change something in your identity, like getting your hair cut in a different style. When you want to start wearing things in a different way, wearing different clothes, looking a different way, going to different places, treating yourself better, going for massages or whatever it is that you do, taking more time for yourself, because you start building the muscle of actually how it feels to be that person. How are you being? And that is very, very important. So, we can talk to ourselves in a certain way, but then when we start being it, because the world, the universe, source, can only bring to you what you are being. If you read self-help books, I don't know, even 10 years ago, it was all about affirmations. It was all about doing certain things. Now affirmations, they don't resonate anymore because we're now in the world, as the dragons say, we are in the revolution of feeling. Unless you are feeling something, feeling as it is true, feeling yourself is true, then that color in your conduit that goes up to the heavens or out to the universe, it can't be recognized. If you're saying the words, yeah, I feel good, I'm feeling better, I'm feeling slimmer, I'm feeling fitter, I'm feeling wealthy, it's a flat line. If you, yeah, exactly, it never worked. But if you feel what they feel like, there's nothing to feel. So the dragons say to me, words are Neanderthal. We don't pick up on your words. In fact, you all say way too many words. But we understand you need words to understand things to get you into the feeling. This is the revolution of feeling. We need to be able to feel it. But most of us don't know what to say and we don't know what to feel. My job, as I've been shown, is to teach you how to feel. So somebody might teach you to be super, super confident, which is great, but that doesn't necessarily bring in the big bucks. That doesn't necessarily shift the dial. So we're always working on what story are you telling and how does it feel? I'm all like last week, bring you into your body. How does that feel within your body? So that's a little bit of what we're going to be playing with tonight. But, and I don't say this to piss you off, you have to kill the underdog in you. It does not serve you. Some of you might say, well, that's that's the nice part of me, that's the compassionate part of me, that's the empathic part of me. No, you can still be that and you can still be really good at what you do. You can still believe in yourself. You don't need to be the underdog. And it's a very, I don't know whether it's other countries as well, but it's a very British thing to vote for the underdog. If this team is looking like they're going to lose, oh, I'll vote for them. you know so it comes up through that particular culture. So I don't know about other cultures, but in that British culture I know that it was, we'll root for the underdog. I know in Norway as well, I remember them saying that they didn't appreciate, certain sectors of the population didn't appreciate, the new wealth, the new rich. They didn't appreciate them driving nice cars and everything else. So there's a lot of jealousy there. But you've got to kill anything that is the underdog in you. So any sentences. So what do you think some of the phrases might be that you might say to yourself if you recognize that you've got a bit of an underdog running? If you're running a little bit of an underdog, what are some of the phrases that you might say to yourself? Put them in the chat. Let's see who else has got other different ones, because sometimes we don't even recognize what we're saying to ourselves that you would think would be an underdog. You might say, oh, that'll do. That'll do. I could do better, but that'll do. I'm worthless. I can't do this. Well done, Terry. Or I should say, bad girl, Terry. Yeah, so I'm worthless. I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. I want someone else. It's a little bit like a victim, isn't it? The underdog. I never get this right. Oh God, I'm so stupid. Which it rolls off the tongue. It's so easy, isn't it? Like when you draw, oh God, I'm so stupid. So think about some of the other things that you say when you are acting as, or you believe that you've got an underdog. I don't know enough to do this. We'll do it and fail again. Yeah, Jasmina, we need to kill that. Definitely need to kill that, and you're human. I never make enough money, enough to have people to do things I'm not good at. Okay, yeah. Someone come save me. Well done, Terry, for bringing that up. Absolutely. We've all got a little bit of this, princess. I noticed when something absolutely went tits up for me yesterday. If I get time, I'll tell you what it was. You'll all find out in the long run anyway. God, I wish somebody could just do this for me. I wish somebody could just take this all away from me. I don't know how to do this. It's like, I don't think I'm cut out for this. So when big things happen, it's a huge opportunity. Someone came to come save me. Yeah, the shite in shining armor, or the knight in shining armor. Yeah, someone came save me. That is definitely this. If you look at the films that we watch, if you look at, the way fairy tales are told to us, we have that sewn into our identity for a very, very, very long time. So kill the underdog. If you think about the underdog, or Maya, who's moving around and whining, if you think about the underdog as, so I want you to feel into the energy as well. If you think about it as being a victim, yeah, story that's sewn into the fabric of your flipping DNA. Listen to this though. If you think about the underdog as the victim, you being the victim, the toxic emotional infection that's festering in your mind and in your actions, it's a signal that you are sending out to the world. That is sewn into your identity. It's horrible. But I also want you to have a feeling of it so that you know what it feels like. Now, you've seen me before. I do this kind of the scale. You can have your scale anywhere you want, left to right, up and down, forwards and backwards. It doesn't matter to me. But there is a scale. There's a dial. You need to know what it feels like on the inside of you so that you can choose to go in the opposite direction. So we did a bit of this last week as well. So what does that, looking at all those phrases, so I'm going to read the phrases out and I want you to feel into them. Remember, this is not about what you think, not about your head. We're not talking to your head, we're talking to your body. Now, you will keep hearing me say this. Your body is the most highly advanced technical barometer, transmitter, and it cannot lie. It cannot lie. You can feel something when you walk into the room. People can feel you when you walk into the room. We can deny it and say, no, no, fine, or whatever. This whole flesh and bones body that you think is just the human with, okay, I've got my little soul inside and she's going to work for me and the dragons are outside and they're going to protect. This whole of you plus your aura is how you send your messages out. This is an amazing transmitter, receiver. You are sending out pulses of energy all the time. And unless you change your identity, you're going to keep sending that out. And so as I'm going to read these now, tune into yourself. If you know what I mean, just tune in, go into your center, find your soul, find yourself, breathe slowly, evenly. And I'm going to read out some of these messages. And I want to ask you to feel where you feel them in your body, because once you're aware of them, you won't want them. Remember, it's a toxic, emotional, festering emotion inside you to have any of these thoughts running in your identity. I'm worthless. I can't do this. Listen to your body. Where does it land? Where does that message end up in your body? You can make notes and then you can put them in the chat afterwards. I don't know enough to do this. I will do it, but I will fail again. I never make any money. Enough to have people do things I'm not good at. Someone come save me. So if you're not feeling it, I'm feeling a concertina in my upper belly. It's like, okay? I want you to understand the language of your soul. This is the language of your soul. And she's just going, oh, no, no, you're suffocating me. You're squashing me. How dare you say those things to me? Your breathing will become very shallow, very, very difficult. And what you're going to have to do is shake that off, because we do not want any of that string energy. inside. So we, like an animal that's being chased, and if it doesn't get caught, it shakes off the adrenaline. Now, this is an energy. You need to be able to shake that off and purge it. And that's why we do the cord cutting, and that's why we're doing releasing the energy, and that's why we do all the kind of stuff that we do. But when you felt an energy, I want you to know how disgusting that feels in your body, how your soul feels just so slapped in the face that the underdog, the victim, there we go, makes me burp. Total emotional infection festering away inside you. What's more, what the dragons have shown me is if you don't sort that out in your energy, you will be attracting form into your body and into your life that match that. If there's one thing I'm absolutely passionate about, is to stop you saying those things, because that will make you sick. Not only gain weight, not only have aches and pains, but eventually it creates form so powerfully on your body. Now, we can shift the form when we change our story. Yes, it dims your light. Absolutely. It's just like, how dare you dim your light? How dare you? But it doesn't only affect you on a physical, it affects you within your environment, within your aura, because like it comes in and it's around you. You're swimming in that soup all the time. So be very careful what you think. When you start changing your identity, when you start changing what you think, when you start changing your self-worth and what you say about yourself, people will turn up to you and kind of go, "You've done something different. You look different. Are you taller? I mean, how did you get taller? Have you lost weight?" They will notice certain things about you, that you will just be more radiant. Your head will be straight. I know that when I'm working with clients and I'm feeling into them, I know that, like, oh God, there we are. Your back becomes so straight. Your shoulders go back. Your head is on straight. You're like really, you're on that fine line. You're on the center. You're on the cross point. You are just absolutely in your conduit. It's like, oh, there we go. That's it. Now I'm in flow. Now I'm in the life force energy. Now that's where your soul lives. She is already in the identity of your biggest and best version of yourself. You're seeking it. You don't need to seek it because she's already there. Like the abundance is already within you. I know the concept for the mind can get tricky when we say that. But this is definitely when you will notice it, but you'll get evidence on the outside, because people say, what are you doing? What have you done differently? You're different. You seem different. And that is a great way to know that people kind of are seeing you and feeling you differently. So that's the invisible edge. Yeah. Yeah. The mind and ego want to keep us safe, which is their job. But the safer they feel, the more you practice going into this particular energy, the more they'll get used to it, and the more they'll allow you to expand into that energy. Does that make sense? The more you practice it and just kind of go, oh, well, I've already stood on stage and I've already signed that many books and I've already spoken to that many clients and I've already had so many clients this year, and it's been absolutely awesome. And I didn't lose myself. And in fact, I had more time and this was more freedom. And so when you talk like that, when you're bringing that into your belief system, so the outside world can start to match you, and all sorts of other things are happening as well. And this is the invisible edge. So you are making the invisible visible, because what happens is the outside world then come and match that in you. It's not matching what you say, but it's matching what you're being, because you absolutely start believing it for yourself. Your environment, so this goes the other way as well. So like, go from the underdog, the victim, the festering infection that's on the inside. But what happens when you start talking and you start being in your new identity? Your environment starts amplifying it. So yes, people will notice you're looking good and everything else, and you'll notice then, I feel more comfortable in my home, and I'm really enjoying the flowers, I'm really enjoying the garden, and I'm really grateful for this. And gosh, I've got so many people. You can actually play with it. So I remember probably about 5 years ago, I was like, God, I could really do with, I really love some evenings where I have musician friends. I didn't have any musician friends at the time. And when they come round, we just have an easy evening and we sit round by the fire and they say, oh, we've got our instruments, shall we bring them in? Now, I just played with that because I wanted to see if I could create it. So I'm asking you not just to do it for work, but to do it in all of your life, because that just makes it so much more fun, doesn't it? Oh, what if I had an absolutely brilliant friend who just rang me up, just knew exactly when to ring me up and just kind of said, come on, let's just go and do something amazing and have an adventure. You can then create that the more you talk about it and the more you believe it. And so then you think, oh, well, if that works for that, which is so much more easy when you're trying to create something that's outside the work realms of your business. Because as soon as you start thinking about money and for your business, you just kind of go, oh, I don't know. You know, money becomes so serious. So all I'm asking you to do is play with the outside world. Oh, wouldn't it be great if somebody brought me a gift? What would I like? Oh, I don't know, a bunch of flowers. Play with it. Oh, the next time I see this lady, I'd really like it if she brought me a cutting of that plant from her garden. Boop, and she arrives with it. Play with it. Don't just save it for your business in the serious stuff. Play with it first and bring all of that into your life and just kind of go, oh, then you start to get evidence of how the world is matching you in your belief. I believe she will. Don't need to think about that anymore. She's already done it. I can already see her walking down the path with this under her arm. Okay, fine. Play with it. So your environment, as well as your body, your social life, your business, start amplifying who you are being on the inside. If you're being playful, if you're being expansive, if you're being playing with abundance, if you're just noticing everything's working out really well for you, like that's how you bring all of that in. So you carry the tone. If you can think about it another way. So you can think about it as you carry a tone, if you carry a song, if you carry a frequency, if you carry a color, because we're only talking about energy. So however you see energy, you might see it as a color. You might see it as a texture or a density, or it might have a jelly feeling to it. I mean, everybody sees and feels energy slightly differently. So you might want to see it as a color, or it might have a perfume, or it might have a taste. Just expand it. Like, let's not just get so hung up on it being to do with money and business and clients, because that is boring as hell to your soul and to the spiritual world. And they're like, you can't get past that money bit. It just starts really, concertinaing in your body. So like, well, let's just play in other realms with other things, and then realize that you're playing. Oh, well, I can play with that as well then. How about, wouldn't it be fun if, and this is how you start speaking to yourself. Wouldn't it be fun if this happened? Oh, this would be amazing. That would be great. Can you see the energy is completely different to saying, oh, I'm never good at that. I wonder if I'm ever going to get any money for someone to come in and just kind of sort my computer out for me. Okay. So we're going to be playing with that. So as you train your thoughts, as you train how you walk and you show up in your life, you're training your aura. And a few weeks ago, have a look back in the guide, I did a session about cleaning your aura. Okay, so you are working in your aura. So your aura walks into the room before you. It can be like sometimes a kilometer in front of you. Like it comes into the room before you. So it presents you before you present yourself. If you're going in to do a negotiation, it walks in ahead of you. People already know what you're going to settle for, where you're going to land, what your intention is, because it's come through in your energy. And people who are good and switched onto that, they just kind of go, I can knock this person down. So you need to be training and working with your aura, which is your energy. And it's what goes out ahead of you. Now your aura can pick up on across the internet. It's not just a face to face, it can pick up on the internet. So if I like I did last week, if I'm going to, tune into Jasmina and I'm going to ask her a question, I'm like, yeah, but I'm feeling it here, so I can feel it the same as other people can feel you across the internet. So you need to train your mind. What are the thoughts you're telling yourself? How you're acting, what stance you're in, what state you're in, as well as train that all for your aura. So you'll be training like an athlete. You'll be repeating things. There'll be a lot of repetition, a lot of practice. If you have a set of the dragon cards, you'll know that often they just say it's a practice. And I used to ask them, like, how do I do it? It's a practice, Fiona, just keep doing it. And then Fiona would forget and put it to one side and life would get in the way. It's a practice, they would keep on saying. You have to keep training for it. We are doing something that not very many people are doing. There are people who are doing it extremely well, and we all envy them. They completely and utterly believe in themselves and that they are millionaires and all the rest of it. But when we get to this point, we have to let something die in our identity to move forward and just kind of, do you know what? I'm as good as anyone else. And if they can do it, I can do it. And I'm absolutely going to train like a demon. I'm going to train like a Olympic rower or a boxer or whatever. I'm going to go in and I'm going to do this every single day. I'm going to change the statements in my head until I believe them, until I feel them. So, for example, you would be putting out a command. I'm a magnet for abundance. Now, as I say this, feel into it. Do you believe it? Would you rather believe, oh, nothing's really coming to me? Where are you on your scale? Because you might kind of go, you're so used to feeling, oh no, nothing's really coming, nothing's really working for me. It became your normal. And if I turn around to you and say, I want you to say, I'm a magnet for abundance. Where do you feel that in your body? How expansive does that feel? How's your breathing? How would you walk into the room knowing that you're a magnet for abundance, that you are the empress of your empire, that you are a millionaire? I use a millionaire because it doesn't have to be that, but I use that as a phrase that everybody's familiar with. If you walked into the room as the millionaire, think now. What would you be thinking? Put it down in the chat. How would you be walking? How would your head be? What's the pace of how you would be walking? What would you be wearing? Where are your shoulders? Where's your chest? Where's your chin? Have you got a sway in your hips? How's your pace with your feet? What's the feeling on the inside of your body? How's your breathing? You're walking in as an accomplished millionaire. You've been a millionaire for a year, let's put it that way. And you're now walking into the bank, or you're walking into an estate agent's, or you're walking into an office, or you're walking into a hotel because you want to rent this room to do a retreat. How are you turning up? What's your state? What's your posture? What's your physicality? What thoughts have you got in your head? So put it in the chat. What differences do you see when you are in the very presence of your own wealth? Where's your breath? How are you breathing? How is your walking? What do you imagine around you? Is there a perfume? Is there a scent? Maybe you're seeing yourself that you are standing on stage, you are doing a talk, telling people about your book, or you're running a retreat. How is it that you are showing up? What's your state, your posture? Who are you being? Allow yourself just to see yourself. If you want, you can close your eyes, you can imagine all of this, but see it through your own eyes. Don't. So as you're standing on stage or walking through some double doors, see yourself, feel yourself doing that. What are some of the things that you are feeling within your body? I feel like that lately most of the time. Ooh, Teresa, nice one. Feel confident. Terry, find out where you feel that in your body. Teresa as well, all of us. We can use words like satisfied, confident, fulfilled, having a blast, but I want you to know what it feels like. The same as when you felt the victim. So Mel, head held high, absolutely, shoulders down, moving slowly, owning it. Well done. Knowing that this world is my playground in which to create, deeply confident and unfuckwithable. Also, Mel, just feel where you feel that in your body. Where does it land? So look at your breathing. Look where the energy mostly sits and resonates when you are in that state. So look at the pace of your breathing. What would be the pace of how you were talking? How poised are you in your posture, in your presentation? Standing on stage is powerful. I stand upright, proud, engaged, open, shining. Everybody, just feel where your breathing is. I really want you to go inside. I own my super powerful self. I'm on top of a mountain. This hairstyle, nice clothes, feeling grounded and confident. You're wearing high heels. On the top of a mountain, you're daring. I achieve. I'm only having a joke. I achieve any goal of mine, enjoying life to the fullest, radiating and attractive. Really tune into your breath because this is how your soul speaks to you. I want you to know how your soul is coming through when you're starting to imagine yourself on top of the mountain, standing on stage, walking in to present yourself, and just kind of say, I'll have that car, thank you very much, or I'll have this hotel retreat suite for these dates. How's your breathing? Where does it reach your breathing? Where does it reach? What organs does it reach? What's the pace of it? Could you count? If you did a count, like what's the count of your breath? I often call this platypus breathing, and I'll tell you why in a minute, but just go in and just find out where your breathing is. How is your soul coming through? How much does your soul love this experience of being in your body and you feeling this? Just going to give you a minute longer just to sit with that and watch yourself through your own eyes, tune into your own breathing. I'm a magnet for abundance. I'm the very presence of wealth. Money is so safe with me. Success flows to me. I'm aligned to my ultimate expansion. How does your soul feel about that? What is she showing you? I used to be on, Teresa says, I used to be on stage a lot dancing in my teens and young 20s. So I know the feeling and I love it so much. I feel like a weight shifts off me and my breathing goes much deeper. So I can see that Yasmin's still doing that. If Mel, you can also just think about, I really want you to, when you type it out or when you write something about how you're feeling, you own it more. So I want you to do that before I kind of go into what the platypus breathing is. Also, don't be shy if you're not feeling a change or if you're not feeling it as profoundly as you want to feel it. I couldn't be sitting up straighter on my chair, honestly. I'm like being pulled up, and this is how this is how it goes. There's no slouching. It's great, Teresa, that you haven't had an experience of this, like by going through movement and doing dancing and things like that. I'd imagine then if you stood on stage to do a talk, you would channel that energy in. So it's great that you have an experience of it when you were in your most powerful state, because you are able then to like bring that back. You channel that in. I feel so free, smiling arms outstretched and joyful. Brilliant. Samantha, do you know what? What the dragons have shown me is, and we all think this is daft because it's so obvious, but I had to have it spelt out. So when you feel certain things in your body, like it could be love, God, there's a movement that goes with it. There's a tear that goes with it when you've hit the spot, when you really, really, really feel it. Or when you are channeling fun and you can just, you bring up the memories of, for me, it would be bouncing on the bouncy castle, and you have to express yourself. Your body has to move with it. You can't just say, I was having so much fun on the bouncy castle. You can't. You're in it, you're moving, you're expressing it. Mel, the feeling starts in my heart, radiating towards outwards. But the longer I stay with it, the deeper into my body and womb I feel it. Totally open, soft, slow, intentional. Brilliant. For me, if I explain it and you can just see whether this still works with you as well, like when you get into your source energy, when you get into like where your soul really feels safe and at home, so bringing that forward first as your identity, because you can't go into something if your soul doesn't feel safe to do it. And when I say soul, I mean your body doesn't feel safe to do it as well, because your mind will just go, no, 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 not going to go there. So we have to help to make it feel safe. We have to quieten the nervous system. So when you step into this particular conduit, when you're breathing, you're commanding it like, oh, my soul feels so abundant. I feel so abundant. I feel so safe with money. And you start knowing that you're in this life force energy conduit. Yes, your shoulders will go back. Yes, your chin will drop. Your shoulders will drop. Your heart will open. Your stomach will melt. You'll just feel very seated and grounded. And your breathing changes. The more you get into this, the more your breathing changes. So for example, you might notice that, with one thing you might just be able to go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, gotta go breathe out again. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like, okay, fine. So this form of breathing, it's like you're so feeling abundant. You are so, what's the word? You're so in it. You're so relaxed, but powerfully relaxed, because okay, it's like this. You're like a ninja alert. Okay, you're picking up everything, but you're very slow and even pace. So this breathing would be that you'll be able to sort of count from 1 to 8 or 9 or 10. And it's not a deep breath, but it's a long breath. It's a profound breath. And then you can hardly feel it as you breathe all the way out again. And it's just so even and so slow and so profound and so deep and so beautiful. And then just, oh yeah, okay, breathing in now. There's no harsh edges, there's nothing. It's just you are so in the zone. So in the zone. One of my clients in my group, the Dragon Portal, she said to me that when she was doing her animal communication, because that's what came out as the vision that Source had for her. She was talking to me one week and she said, just something really strange happens when I'm going into speaking to the animals, and she speaks to past live animals and all that sort of stuff, past pets that have passed over. And she went, something really happened. And I went, okay, let me tune into that. I said, oh God, I just keep seeing a platypus. I said, and it's just easy in the water. It's just no effort. And so the breathing became a mimic of what was going on, that I could feel as I was swimming as the platypus. It just ended up being called platypus breathing because it was underwater and it was just so easy. There's no fear. There was no worries. And then when you're in that energy, you realize that's how the soul feels. She's not worried about what's going on in the human life. She's not worried about it. It's just like, it's just a human life. We'll transcend that. We'll get rid of that. We'll move past that. Problem is that when you get into that state of breathing, staying there and not falling asleep because it's so gorgeous. So we're beginning to understand that the world can only respond to us depending on what we are being. And when you're being something, it's not that you're thinking yourself into something per se, but you are actually just, I'm being that now. I'm being abundant. I've got all these sentences. I know exactly the stories to tell to myself. I know how I feel in the morning. I know what that feels in my body. I know how to get back into that once I've come out of it. What I do with my clients when we're in Manifest with the Dragon, so they're learning about manifestation. It's like, right, okay, we're going to come out of that energy and we're going to get you back into that energy. We're going to come out of the energy, we're going to get back into that energy because it's a practice of always coming back into that specific energy so that you can recognize it. And then when the shit hits the fan or when something happens, you might have a bit of a breakdown, but it doesn't go on for nearly as long as it used to. It's just like, okay, I've got it. I understand what the message is. This is a human thing. I can move past this. I can go through this. So your your thoughts, your beliefs, they're training the outside world to reflect back to you what you are being. So again, we've gone through the stride, we've gone through the pace, we've gone through the posture, we've gone through how you hold your head, your shoulders, the stance. You know, you are bold and you are feeling really strong on the inside. You're not flapping in the wind, you know, like everybody's like pulling you here and pulling you there and pulling you here and pulling you there. Like, no, it's like, and it's your job to keep that as your energy in your identity. That becomes your brand, your signature, what you are emanating and radiating out into the world, which is all of everything that I wanted to be able to talk to you about today. So instead of, you know, being the underdog, you're becoming the alpha. You are standing in your own power. That means you are standing in your own power. It doesn't mean you're here to win and be triumphant against old odds and I'm going to break other people down, I'm going to negotiate better. It's just like you are so in your energy that you are so attractive in that energy and that people come to you because they love being in your energy because you are just you're rocking it. Does that make sense? One of the things, because Teresa's smiling so much, one of the things when you're in this particular energy and you're holding your own and you can see all the shit that's going on around you, something that I've noticed, and Teresa, you just reminded me because you had your grin on your face, you can imagine that you're looking at the world through the Mona Lisa because she had that kind of knowing smile of what was going on. She wasn't grinning like a Cheshire cat. She was just like, yeah, I know what's going on. So you can understand then when you're standing in your power that you've almost got that energy, but it's exuding from you in a kind of like a little, yeah, I know what you're doing. I know what you're playing at. I can feel it. I know what you're doing. This is my energy. Deal with it. And that's a really, really beautiful place to be. So there is a warning with this, however, as you up level. No, there is honestly, there's a warning with this. Um, as you up level, there will be instances and stories and things that need to be thrown out. If you're killing the underdog, you have to get rid of the underdog. And that means some things they will naturally have to fall off the ways that the patterns that you normally act and respond from. It could be that people eventually, certain people just don't mean that much to you anymore because they're just complaining all the time. And that's not who you are. So sometimes you'll know as you get older, like just reason seasons in a lifetime, sometimes people just, they can't hang around someone who's so positive. who's really doing things well. You will notice that. I'm sure you've all had things happen that you just kind of go, it's not a dead cert, by the way, because some people can actually, you can just, chivvy people on and they can really come up to par. So when you kill the underdog, your identity cracks. Yeah, you've had a lot last in the past 1 and 2 years. Yeah, exactly. Relationships do change, the way you live changes, your options change, how you eat changes, your decisions change, how you respond to things, your patterns, you change. And some people don't like it, and that's fine. But by you doing it, you are promoting that as a new way of life, and it's their choice whether they're actually going to do it or not. It's not for you to kind of go, which we've all done. Oh, wait. Okay. This is the difficult bit, that you carry on being you. You carry on with this beautiful identity, regardless. When things get tough, you carry on with this beautiful identity. Do we fall down every now and again? The things happen? Yes. Get back up, keep going, use your beautiful identity. So when the money falters, when the finances falter, when relationships or housing, get back on, hold firm in that vibration, that unfuckwithable, unshakable, unapologetic, as if you were Lady Gaga or Pink or whoever your main person would be, that you just kind of go, wow, they just keep getting back up. And you would be saying, I am enough. I'm ready. I am the one. I am perfect. I'm calling in God's inheritance, because basically this is God's inheritance. This is who your soul meant you to be. Kind and sweet, but really, really powerful. And that is your signal. That is your signal that you're sending out, that you are someone and you do matter. Now I can feel that resonating from my body. And I'm wondering if you're feeling that you are a different person from when you were when you came on the call. So like something has been absorbed, something has been activated, something has been like, okay, yep, I want this, because this is the practice. And like I said, it can take 21 days, 30 days, 40 days, 50 days, 60, 70, 80, 90. And basically, it's not that not that you go on it like a diet, it's that you go on it and this is your life from now on. What you also find is this is the main immune boost that you can get. Huh, April's coming in at the last minute. This is the main boost that you can give to your immune system, meaning the more positive you are, the more that you tell a great story, the more that you are able to believe in yourself and bring that in and be in that energy and wear that as your identity. You've used the muscle and you've learned through all your discipline and all the practice and all the rehearsal and all the intentions and repetition. You're stretching that muscle every single day. Then that becomes your identity, because you totally and utterly believe what you're telling yourself. Telling yourself stuff that no one ever told you how great you were, how easy this was going to be. So when you do this, it is also healing, because this is the greatest immune system boost that you will get. When you start operating from this, aches and pains disappear. So as well as what we were talking about, being the underdog, being the toxic infection that's festering in your body, creating form, when you're doing this from the other direction, clearly what's going to happen? You're going to get healthier, more vital, more confident. Things are going to go right for you. That's what stepping into this identity actually means. April, hello, darling. You've caught the tail end of this, but it is recorded, so you will be able to find it. We've been stepping up through the identity, killing the underdog, the one that says all the nasty things to you, and just teaching ourselves some of the things that we can say, some of the new beliefs that we can start putting in. So we really are stepping into this new version of ourselves, the identity, the power that you can claim within yourself. Oh, okay. Maybe April, the times have changed for us, but they haven't changed for you. This time of year is always a bit tricky, and spring. Where are you, April? I think you're in the States, aren't you? Or Canada. So yes, maybe because I had the problem with the no, please don't apologize. I'm sorry that you yeah, US. I had a client this morning and she was in Australia, and so we were also an hour. Shim shim shim. Anyway, so we need to be flexible. So this is your wealth aura, your abundant aura, you're feeling lavishly abundant, and how you walk through your day with that particular energy. Does anybody have any questions before we finish this training? My intention, as always, every single week, as far as I can, is to help you to have an experience. So does anybody have any questions? Anything they want to say about the experience? Anybody making a new promise to themselves for going forward? Teresa, go ahead.
Hi. So I've been doing a lot of stuff physically lately, and because of that, because I've got a bad back, chronically, I had more pain than usual. And I could hardly, when you said don't slouch and that, and I was sitting like that, that was the only way I could actually sit. And I'm sitting up right now. So thank you.
And we said last week that you had lower backache, which was really to do with a lot to do with your finances, sits more down to do with the
Yeah,
lower back as well.
exactly. Thank you.
So no, well done. Sometimes my body speaks to me a lot, and your body will speak to you a lot as well. And often it's not a serious complaint, but it's an energetic signal. So this is how your soul speaks to you. So often I get a really, really, really incredibly painful hip. And I know it's because of some of the things that I've been saying, all the stories that I've been telling. I'm very well aware of it, but sometimes it has to come back in such pain that I kind of go, and then I'm having to walk and say, I'm mighty, I'm powerful, everything's positive, and I'm starting to change the story as I'm walking. And when I did the Santiago the first time and the second time, it really, really flared up, and I was in so much pain. I was crying, but I was crying because I knew the only one who could change it was me. It wouldn't matter if I went and lay down or sat down. It wouldn't go until I changed the story. I
Yeah,
changed my identity and what I was saying. So, Therese, if you think then what it is that you've changed in your essence, in what you're thinking and how you're talking to yourself, and then when your back comes in, you can ask, is that because I've been telling the same story? You might get your yes and your no, because I often talk to my body and ask straight questions, and I get my yes and no. So sciatica is the big one for me, going through breakups and relationships and things like that, because then
mm,
often, we have a lot of blame, or we have a lot of stories, or we have like, why? You know, the only person it comes back and hurts is you. So like you complaining about your money, you're complaining about things, the only way it can come back to you is hurt you is through your back, and that can be your weak point to show you you just can't think like that anymore.
yeah.
All right, so just practice that this week, and then just see how that changes.
Yeah, I definitely
Yeah,
do.
and exactly,
Thank you.
Terry's life says, yeah, it's not that you're not being supported, so the lower back
Yeah,
vertebra.
yeah, definitely. Yeah,
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 but sometimes we know it, we can read it, we can see it on the diagram. We go, yeah, I know, but now what do I do about it? Okay, so you've just
yeah.
had some evidence then that can actually let that go.
Thank you so much.
So that's what you can practice and play with. Samantha, plan to be more playful with things. So Samantha, is that because we talked about you can start creating things that didn't necessarily have anything to do with your business and money? Because it was much easier to be more playful with that than to be with money. um, I find that sometimes it's just so much easier to sort of be playfully creative, be a child again. Like, what did you used to do as a child? When we get adults, it just becomes all too serious. Your soul, by the way, is really not that serious. The dragons are really not that serious. They're like, oh my God, you take everything so seriously. You really get your knickers in a twist about everything. It's like, it's just you're human. It's just that 5 or 20% of you that you think is human that is still trying to control everything. But it's difficult for us to get that. out of our head. Terry, yeah. So you saying that, Terry, you saying that to Teresa then? Now ask Spirit to support you. Yeah, of course. So you can ask Spirit to support you, and you can also just support yourself. Just change your story, change what you're saying. And if anything, just say, please, you can also sort of invoke the Spirit and just say, please remind me before it gets too painful that this is going on. April. Since last week, I've been getting up earlier and getting my self-care done and being able to have the rest of the day and get things finished. So yeah, the better you take care of yourself. But what we're going on today about April as well is how you talk to yourself within your day. So go back on the replay and have a look. It's very much about your self-talk, how you believe you are, what you think about yourself. So that will have a big trying to think of the word, consequence. Consequence on how the rest of your day goes as well. Yeah, can't wait to listen. Well, I can't wait to have you listen. And if anybody wants to add any more comments, please do. Has anybody else got any more questions? Mel, how was that? Jasmine, how was that?
Can I say it instead of just typing?
Yeah. Say it.
Yeah. Uh, Also for me, last week was really a big shift after, you. I just literally feel more and more, coming to like, yeah, I want to come back to my business and actually do it because I want to, not because I have to,
Yeah.
not because of the money, not because I really, it's all that I am within. Like, hey, I want to share that with the world.
So
And
that's
that's a
changing your
huge,
intention then. So your intention has shifted. So often when I speak to women and they come to me because they say, I need more money, I need more clients. I'm like, okay, perfect. But in the end, when your intention shifts, it's never really about that. It's just I just really don't enjoy doing business like that. I want to find the fun in it. I want to enjoy it. I want to really enjoy the marketing. Like I had a conversation with a client this morning. She goes, I just really don't enjoy the marketing. But her main values were freedom, connection. What was the other one? And I said, well, when you're doing your marketing, that's the essence you want to come from, that you're having more freedom, you're having more play, you're connecting with more people. So your marketing comes from that as well. So therefore, when you're putting out your posts or that's how you enjoy it more, rather than thinking, oh gosh, I hope people watch. So when you put your posts out, it's very interesting to watch what's going on in your head. You put your post out, you put your event out, and then you kind of go, God, I wonder when who's going to actually see that. Just watch. It's very, very interesting. And then make a note of it because we need to do a spring clean on that. That's absolutely needs to be an exorcism out of your energy field because you can't go around saying that anymore. I don't think anybody's actually going to sign up for that, do you? You know? So like where are you in your energy field when you're putting things out? Because that will be being your identity. That's going to
exactly. And
be
that's exactly what you shared last time, to shift the story. Like, like today where I shared, yeah, what if I go and fail? Like, what if I go and succeed more than, beyond my imagination? It's like shifting the stories. It really helped me mega times,
and
like,
that
and
and that's
exactly,
the human story, whereas your soul is
yeah,
kind of going, I came in to create things that haven't been created before, to go beyond the imagination, to invent things that haven't been available before. And your human's kind of going, no, but I've not seen anybody else do it that way. I don't know. I don't think so. And your soul's going, let me out.
yeah. So I'm going toward more and more soulful living than human living. Yeah. And that's
I'm going to
beautiful.
ask you then, do you know what some of your main values are?
Yeah. Um, the main one is authenticity and just be me.
Okay, but I'm picking up something else there. And if you allow me to say it, you let me know whether
Yes.
that's right or not. Variety. And I think you love adventure even though, like me, sometimes you get, you get, I'm in life, I've got a house and I've got, yeah, and it's like, fuck, where did the adventure go? I came to life to have an adventure, and you end up living your life and raising kids or running dogs or looking after other people. And you just think, that you're living it and you're like, okay, well, fine, I'll have a job then and I'll do this and I'll do that and I'll do this and I'll do that. But, the adventure's missing. Your soul is still adventurous. And she's like, where's the adventure? What about if your business could be your adventure? Just like, I've got no idea how amazing and how awesome this could be, where it's going to take me. That could feed your soul.
Yes, and this is exactly how I feel more and more toward the business, which I never felt before. It was always like it has to be done, just like that. Except working with clients, but the business part was
When
like,
we get the clients, we all excel. But what
yeah,
we're trying to do now is find a way that we get the clients by being authentic and putting that out in
yes,
your biggest advert ever, which is your energy.
yep, that's it. And
Cool.
that's why I did this because in my um when I did the exercise, like how I look, how I am when I'm at my best, how what I feel, just what you did. It's always this cut of the hair, and that's why I went for it. And I came back, and my neighbor was like, "Is that Yasmina? Is that you?" Like he couldn't recognize me because it wasn't just cutting the hair; it was the energy. When
Yeah.
I looked at myself, like, yeah, that's the one. That's the one. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when I had that great big pink flash before I went traveling around the world.
Yeah.
And you had to walk, you had to own it. You had to walk in a different way. Going to the nightclubs, I remember going to nightclubs, and we'd be going to the same nightclub, my girlfriend and I, for quite a while. And when I walked in that day, everyone was like, I was like, oh God. I still dance the same and everything else, but like you had to own it. It wasn't you couldn't hide it. It's like, well, okay, fine. So like the same when you dress a certain way or you come a certain way or you write a certain way, it's like you have to own it. So now you have to own your hairstyle. That is a great way. That's it.
Yeah.
Women have a great advantage of being able to do that. Awesome. Anything else from anybody else? Mel, you okay? Before we say goodnight?
I was just going to jump in and say that my biggest shift actually happened yesterday after listening to the reading that you did for my business.
Can't wait
Um,
to have a word with you about that.
yeah, the most powerful bit, I mean, there was so much in it, it was so juicy, but the bit that was really lit up was being in my God space,
Yeah.
like finding my God space. And that anyway right now is really lit up anyway. It's really strong. It's really radiant inside. So today I had the day with my daughter, and we went to a National Trust house, and we were in the gardens around the lake, and the trees are just stunning. And I just spent the day in total like pleasure and joy. And it wasn't like I'm just seeing it from my head. It was like I kept stopping and just dropping into that space of like, this is it. This is all the joy and all the abundance and all the beauty and all the things. So yeah, it was really special. So more of that. That's my practice and my commitment.
Yeah, so make an appointment. We need to go over your reading, but it was an actual joy to do a reading. I mean, I love doing
Thank
readings
you.
anyway, because it's always the vision that source has for you. And sometimes you just don't know I never know what's going to come through, but and nor does the person either. But when they realize that's what their business wants to say to them, they're like, and what your
Yeah,
business wanted to say to you, you're reminding now about being in the God zone, being in the God consciousness and doing what you're doing.
yeah.
Yeah, your work, brilliant. Absolutely. All
So
right.
thank you.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming along. Just it's awesome to see you here every single week. And I don't plan to make these long, but I do plan to make them juicy. All right. So I'm going to love you and leave you. And next week I'll be back with something else, whatever I'm told to bring forth. With a giggle and a dance. All right, ladies. Bye-bye. Thank you very much for being here. And I shall put it in the training, in the events, in the guide section in Practical Magic. So then you can watch the replay and just keep getting yourself back into that space. Bye-bye.